Hey, Kris. Good morning.
Good morning.
Last night, you said you're happy the way the team played, but you expect a little more out of Florida. I guess, how do you try and get that message across to your guys that, as well as you guys played last night, you might expect a bigger challenge in Game 2?
Well, you just look at our the playoffs, the road that we've taken, and there's always been ups and downs, and there's been games that we've won easily, and the next night we've lost, and vice versa, where we've had a bad game and we've responded and played really well. And I think that was a game where, I don't think it was their best, and they're just going to be better. You look at how well they played throughout these playoffs, and I feel we'll see more from them.
In center left, Greg.
Hey, Kris. Like you said, the numbers are what they are for Game 1. The players we just spoke to liked your effort in Game 1. Would it be incorrect to say that Sergei Bobrovsky stole that game?
He definitely made some big saves. I think there were some missed opportunities, whether we just missed the nets or, just didn't get the shot that we wanted to. But, yeah, I think it's fair to say that he played really well. But I think there's things that we can do that are in our control that we could have made more on our chances.
Second row left.
Yeah, hi. As a coach, what can you do to make sure that their goaltender doesn't get in your players' heads?
I think it's just a reminder that we've seen goalies put on good performances. And, from game to game, it always changes. We're going to play our game. We control what we can control. And what Florida does with their forecheck or their defensive zone coverage or their power play, we can't control that. That's out of what we can handle. It's all up to them. So, and same thing for goaltending. We have to just put ourselves in a position to get good quality scoring chances and bear down on those opportunities. And if we're playing well, they'll go our way. They'll go in. As good as any goaltender can play against us, we'll get some production.
Right side, Pierre.
Kris, when you load up with Leon and Connor, I'm just wondering how much of that you communicate with them heading into a game as to, obviously after the PK or TV timeout, there's some obvious situations, but is it truly a sense on game flow that you feel like it's time, or is it something that you talk to them going into a game saying, this might be the night where I lean on that a bit more?
No, I think early when I came here, there's probably a little more communication on when I was going to do it and kind of tell them what I was planning, whether matchups were at home or on the road. I think right now is the amount of games that I've been behind the bench. I think they have a good understanding of when they're going to be going out together. And, in the third period, we hadn't scored yet, and we're looking to get that first one. And no better way to get that first one than put those three players together, because they've come up big so many times. And, it didn't work out the other night, but, maybe in game 2.
Third row left, Mark.
Kris, the Nurse-CC pairing, the numbers we get tell us that pairing's had a rough playoff. You went back to them last night, and they were on the ice for 2. One, they weren't that responsible for. Maybe the other, they were. Do you have numbers that tell you that they're a more successful pairing, and are you going to stick with them?
Well, I look at last night's game, and they were out there for 2 goals against. And, I also think that they were part of – we look at players involved in scoring chances, for and against. And, if a player has a good game, obviously they're in the plus by quite a bit. And for a defenseman, and both of them were involved in 2 scoring chances against, and both of them, they got scored against. So I guess if you look at actual goals for and against, it's not favorable. The expected goals for and against is not nearly, doesn't paint the same picture at all, completely different. And we're always balancing on, what's best for those 2 players, but also what's best for all 6 of our defensemen. And as a coaching staff, we always have to make those decisions. Not easy, and sometimes you have to give a little to get something else. And as for the matchup next game, yeah, we'll have to. We haven't made any decisions yet.
Stay in that same row, Jim.
Chris, Evander Kane's been an impactful player in the playoffs for the 3 years here. He looks like he's struggling to get his game up to where it should be in terms of scoring goals for sure. What are you seeing from his game, and does the fact that he's not practicing much, because obviously there's something wrong with him physically, how much bearing does that have on how he's playing?
Yeah, no, obviously he's not the Evander Kane a couple of years ago, or even, when I came here, he was scoring at will. He was putting up a pretty good season, and obviously there was he had to take some time off with some injuries and maintenance days, and yeah, it's unfortunate for any player anytime you're battling with something, it takes away from your game. No matter if you're a skilled, speedy forward, a defensive forward, or a power forward, it takes a toll, and it's tougher to find your game. But I think Evander's been good for our team. I think he's been contributing, and maybe not showing up on the score sheet as much as he has in the past, but still contributing to our team. And I don't think we'd be where we are today. We wouldn't be in the Stanley Cup Finals if Evander hadn't been playing throughout the playoffs.
We'll take two more in that same row, Ryan.
Chris, Philip Broberg, you throw him on the right side, gave you a great game last night. Him playing that well on the right kind of opens up some different possibilities, and looks like maybe he's ready for more. At the same time, him and Nurse, you haven't really done before. Would you shy away from pairings that you don't have experience with on this stage, or are you willing to try some stuff and kind of let the player dictate, his minutes and try some different things?
Yeah, no, it's throughout the playoffs we've been open to trying things, and some have worked, some haven't. Broby's been outstanding for us. We've put him in a lot of difficult situations. I think it comes back to the Dallas game where it was almost a must-win, and he is inserted in the lineup and plays a pretty good game. And then since that game, he's just continually gotten better and better and better. And he's a player that we wanted in our lineup throughout the season. It just didn't work out because everything had been going so well with our team and our six defensemen. As for our D pairs going into game 2, we are open for some experiments, some changing things around a little bit. But as I said, we haven't decided on anything yet.
Last one, front right, Nick.
I'm down here. Just want to ask about the way you use Leon, right? Like he starts out with Kane. We just talked about how Kane's not as effective as he usually is. You spot him with Connor after a penalty kill. He's on the power play. He's playing a bunch of different roles in the same game. What's the challenge for him, and what kind of player does that take to handle all those things?
Very talented player. We've relied on Leon quite a bit, and Leon has had a lot of line mates. And if you look in the, around the league, he's probably had the most time spent with so many guys. And I think he's been very flexible and just being able to bring his game. Obviously, having the opportunity to play with Leon, guys elevate their game. It's an opportunity for them to really step up and show them what they can do, because you get the opportunity to play with them. You want to stay there. You want to be at your best. But also for Leon, it's not always easy because you're always getting new line mates and you try and build some chemistry, and then I'm rooting that. I'm changing that up. But for a player like Leon to be able to be as productive he has, and play with so many different line mates, that says a lot about the player. He's a tremendous talent. Obviously him and Connor are very dangerous together, But, I think overall, we're a better team when he's driving his own line. And, we're always trying to find the right mix on what our line should be.